How do you focus attention everywhere so it's focused nowhere? Well, this is a Zen riddle, you might say, that comes from Yagami Nori, who wrote the Life-Giving Sword School. Well, that's the school that he was the headmaster of. But he's a 17th century samurai that was looking to kind of integrate swordsmanship training with Zen meditation practice or Buddhist meditation practice or principles. And he learned a lot of that from his Zen master teacher, Takuan Soho, who wrote The Unfeathered Mind. Both of those are great books. You should check them out. So what Munenori was doing is he was looking for ways to do mental training for his students to create what he called a free mind. In other words, a mind that allows attention to go where it needs to go to fight well. Mental training is training attention, and we're going to look at three different ways of doing this. First, we need awareness of where our attention is. So without awareness, attention's going to dwell in the mind and then be kind of a victim of the mind's limiting tendencies. Let's say the mind's tendency to seek comfort and wanting to avoid stress. So we need awareness of where our attention is. So for example, if we see a difficult rock climb and we start thinking about how we'll struggle. So the flow of our attention, in other words, is from seeing what we're seeing, the difficult rock climb, coming back in through the eyes and dwelling in the mind on thinking. And so then the mind is going to mix what it sees in that difficult rock climb with like past memories of how we've struggled on climbs. So number two, we need to intentionally direct the flow of our attention. And it's really quite simple, not easy obviously, it takes practice, is you simply change the flow back out toward the rock climb. So you reverse that flow from the mind, from thinking in other words, through the eyes to what you can see on the rock and what you can feel. So we're making sure our attention is on the rock and not dwelling in the mind on thinking about how hard it's going to be by what we can see and feel. So if you think about like an edge like this, the rock, I'm projecting my attention out of thinking to what I can actually see in the irregularities of the hold, and then also the engagement of my fingers with it, that kinesthetic feeling. So the third one is we focus on the whole situation instead of just a part. And here is where Munenori's wisdom comes into play. It says, how do you focus attention everywhere so it's focused nowhere? Well, it seems like a contradiction, but what we want to do as a baseline foundational practice is to expand our attention everywhere, so it's not on any one part. Munenori would teach his students that if you put your attention in the opponent's sword, you're going to fail. If you put your attention in your sword, you're going to fail. So what he's saying is that if your attention is just focused in on this one part, like the sword, then you're not paying attention to everything else that's going on around you and within you. So if you don't have attention in what's going on in you and around you, then you're not going to be aware of important details that could influence how you're fighting or how you're climbing. Same thing happens in your climbing. If you're overly focused on just the hand, then your foot might slip because you're not aware of just how you need to press your foot, and vice versa. So we expand attention so that we can be more aware of everything that's going on in our body and how we're connecting with the rock. We need to be aware of how much we're pressing with our foot into the rock. We need to be aware of the feeling of balance as we're shifting to the next move and how we're gripping a crimper, let's say. What this does is it heightens our awareness of body proprioception, like our feeling of the body in space, but also in how it's integrating with the rock. So this is a general concept, this base foundational practice, to have this expanded awareness. And there are going to be times when, you need to focus on like a particularly unique kind of handhold or precise foot placement. Just keep in mind that if you're, even in those situations, if you're putting too much focus on that one thing that needs attention, you're going to lose awareness of everything else that you're still doing to make that move successful. So you can practice this in what we call double arrowed awareness. And basically what it is, we call it expanded body observant mind. Okay? You direct part of your attention inwardly toward an expanded body, simply by focusing on breathing, relaxing any unnecessary tensions, and proper posture. So it's just not contracting, but just an expanded, relaxed posture and breathing. And then you also direct some attention outwardly toward what we call an observant mind, on what you can feel, hear, and see. So you're connecting with the rock. You need to feel your connection with it in your feet and your hands. You need to hear different communications coming from your belayer. That's your support team. And you also need to see, the holds and everything else that you're engaging with. And then if you need to narrow attention, to something specific, you can do that. But this expanded body observant mind is this foundational practice that you operate from. That's your grounding and your foundation. That's the lesson. You can go to warriorsway.com, check out the full text and audio. You can also check out our books and courses, and reach out to us. We'd love to work with you with your mental training needs. Thank you.